and welcome to Journey with the Kellers. My name is Amanda Keller and today we are in the Keller kitchen. So today it is finally here, you guys, the Good Lookin Cookin from Dolly Parton and her sister, who is Rachel Parton George. I'm so excited about this. Okay, so when I got the cookbook, I kind of looked through it, and basically they do like a month to month thing of a full meal, like a several course meal. So you can make all of the recipes at one time and do this huge meal. So that's actually what we're gonna do today, okay? So we're gonna make everything except for the drink. We are gonna be making shrimp with cream cheese, capers, and cocktail sauce, a family favorite meatloaf, whipped potatoes, the southern green beans, country loaf bread, encore, and an encore is the chocolate cobbler, okay? We're gonna start out with the country loaf bread because of course that is gonna have to rise and all of that, so it's gonna take a little bit longer. Okay, so the first thing that you are going to do is you are gonna take 2.5 cups of warm water and put that into a bowl. You are gonna need 2 tablespoons of active dry yeast that you're gonna add to this. So 1 and 2. And then you're also gonna add to this 1/4 cup of sugar. Okay. And you're gonna stir that all together until the sugar is dissolved. Okay. Well, the sugar and the yeast are dissolved. I always find that yeast likes to go up and stick to the side of the bowl, so I try to get that down in there. And it also, yeast never seems to want to, it always likes to clump up on me and then it won't dissolve because it's just a big clump. So, try to smash it against the bowl and get it done. There we go. Okay, so once you have your yeast and your sugar dissolved in there, you're gonna go ahead and set that aside and let it sit for about 5 minutes, okay? While that is sitting, you can go ahead and prep the rest of your stuff. You guys, so what you're gonna need to do, first of all, you are gonna need 1 tablespoon of melted butter for this part. You also, if you want to, will need another tablespoon, like when this is all done, to brush over the top of the bread. If you wanna do that, you don't have to do it. So this next part, while we're still waiting, and actually my yeast is starting to get foamy, which is good, because that means it's almost ready. So what you're gonna do is you are gonna go ahead and sift 6 cups of all-purpose flour, okay? So there's 1, here's 2. I'm gonna go ahead and sift that. Okay, then we need 3 and 4. Okay, and then 5 and 6. All right, get that all sifted up. Oh, couple little lumps that don't want to go through. There we go. Okay, there we go. So 6 cups of flour sifted. You're gonna go ahead and put that in your stand mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can do this, you know, by a spoon or hand in a bowl. That's up to you. But you're gonna go ahead and put this in there. Okay. You're gonna add to that about a tablespoon of sea salt. Now, if you guys have watched before, I do not use the different salts. I just use regular salt. And she does say that, you know, depending on dietary needs or whatever, you can change the salt in any of these recipes to whatever you need. So a tablespoon of salt. Then also 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. Okay. And it does say that you can use olive oil or shortening. Okay. So 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. And then you're also going to need your 1 tablespoon of melted butter. Okay. I'll put that in there. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get this all mixing up here. Can't see my dials here. So we are going to turn this on. Oh, we want it on low. And we're gonna let that mix up for a little bit, okay? They have it on a low speed. And then once it gets a little bit mixed up, you're gonna go ahead and gradually add in your yeast mixture, okay? So we're just gonna slowly add this in. And oh, and by the way, the yeast should look nice and foamy, okay? That means it's activated and that your yeast is good, which is what you want. So we're just gonna slowly pour this in there. All right, so once you get that all poured in, you're gonna go ahead and turn this up to a medium speed and mix the dough until it is smooth and pulls away from the sides of the bowl, which will take about 2 minutes, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and turn this up a little bit. There we go, that's good. All right, you guys, so I will be back as soon as this is all mixed up, okay? Guys, so once it gets all mixed up, you got a nice smooth dough in there. So you can go ahead and grease another bowl. Does it say what to use? Let's see. It just says to grease it with oil. And then you can put the dough in there and flip it over once to cover it in oil. And then cover it with a towel and let it rise, okay? And you're gonna let it rise for about an hour, okay? And it should be, does it say, yeah, it's gonna double in size. This bowl comes with a lid and everything, so I'm just gonna stick my lid on here and let it sit and rise. And then I'll be back in an hour to show you guys what we do next, okay? So I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, you guys, so it has been rising now for an hour, and of course it's nice and big, which is what you want, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take just a little bit of flour and flour your surface. Okay. And then you're gonna take your dough out and put it onto that surface. Okay. Now, get this centered up a little bit. Put a little flour on your hands. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna pinch the edges of the dough and you're gonna bring it to the middle, okay? Oh, and I forgot to tell you to punch down the dough too before you took it out of the bowl. I did that as I was getting it out, but punch down your dough too. Okay, so once you do it on that side, you're gonna flip it over and you're gonna do it again on this side. So grab the edges, bring it into the middle. Oops. And there you go, okay? It's basically just kind of like a little bit of a thing to get it, you know, nice and ready. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna divide the dough in half using like a dough cutter or whatever. Okay. Looks pretty good. And you can use a sharp knife too if you don't have a dough cutter. Now you're gonna take 2 9x5 loaf pans. And let me get this out of the way. Okay, and you're gonna spray these down with some spray oil, okay? Oh, about dropped it. Okay, there's 1. There's 2. And you're just gonna pick up your dough here and put it in there and try to shape it as much as you can to fit. Make sure it fits in the corners and all of that. Okay. Voila. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna just set this someplace where it's not getting a draft or anything, and cover them with a tea towel or a kitchen towel for about 20 minutes and let them rise again, okay? Once they, I would say about 5-10 minutes into that rising, go ahead and preheat your oven to 375 degrees. That way by the time it's done rising, it'll be heated up and ready to go. Then you're gonna bake the loaves for about 20 to 25 minutes, okay? They should be golden brown when they're done, okay? You're gonna remove them from the oven, and then put them on a cooling rack, turn it out onto a cooling rack. So take it out of the pan, put them on a cooling rack, and then if you want, you can brush the tops with melted butter at that time, okay? And then cool them for 10 minutes before you slice them, okay? So that's it for the Dolly Parton bread. So you're just going to let it rise for the 20 minutes with a tea towel or a kitchen towel over top of it, preheat your oven to 375 degrees, put them in the oven once they've risen for 20 minutes and bake them for 20 to 25 minutes until they're golden brown. Take them out, turn them out onto a cooling rack, and then you can put some melted butter on the top of them at that time if you want, or if you don't, you don't have to. And then cool it for 10 minutes before you slice them, okay? So that's it for the bread, you guys. So I will be back and we're gonna make the shrimp recipe next, okay? So I'll be right back in just a minute. Okay, you guys, so now we're gonna go ahead and make the shrimp with cream cheese, capers, and cocktail sauce, okay? So this is actually really easy. You're mainly just making the cocktail sauce. Now, you are gonna need 5 large shrimp per person that are pre-cooked and deveined with the tail on. Now, I can actually buy those already done, so it makes it easy, okay? So I already have them. If you can't find them already done, you can cook them yourself. So just slice the shrimp up the middle. Make sure you get that little muddy looking vein out, but just slice it up the middle. Then boil them in water until they're pink. Make sure you leave the tails on, and you're also going to have to peel the shrimp. So peel them down to the tail, leave the tail part on, make a slit in the top, and make sure that muddy vein comes out, which usually it comes out anyways. And then you're going to just cook them in water, boil them until they're pink. Then you can take them off. And then she has in here, you take them out and you drain them in the sink or something. And then she has that once you get them cooked, you can rinse them. And then, let's see, you can rinse the shrimp after cooking with a lemon mixture. So she says combine a half a cup of lemon juice, a half a cup of water, and a half a teaspoon of salt. Mix it real well and pour it over the cooked shrimp in the colander. And then rinse the shrimp in cold water and drain it really well. And then you can just place them in a resealable plastic bag in the refrigerator until you're ready to use them, okay? So it's up to you on what you want to do with the shrimp, okay? So what we're going to do right now is just make the cocktail sauce. So what you're going to need for this is a half of a cup of chili sauce. Okay. There is that. Need a spoon. Okay, so a half of a cup of chili sauce. Sorry, my washing machine is going again. Seems to be always going. Okay, then you need 2 tablespoons of horseradish sauce. so there is 1 and 2. Okay, then you're gonna need 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. And you can use freshly squeezed lemon or just cheat like me and use a bottle of lemon juice. Okay, so 1 teaspoon lemon juice. Okay. Then you're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. I still don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. I kind of say it like it looks like it's pronounced. But I've heard some people say Worcestershire sauce. So I'm not, I don't know. I don't know which way is the way. Some people call it like a horsey sauce or something like that. Okay. So then you got your 1/2 teaspoon of Worcestershire and then a 1/2 teaspoon of hot sauce. Okay. Go. And you're just going to mix that up. Okay, there you go. You got a nice cocktail sauce. It's ready to go. So now you can cover this and put it in the fridge, and then it's ready for when you're ready to serve your meal. And what you would do when you serve it is really simple. So you're just going to take, is it this whole block? Yeah, an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. It says to spread this out on a plate. So I would kind of let it soften up a little bit, maybe sit out and soften up for a little bit, but spread it out on a plate. And then put your cocktail sauce over top of it. Then you're going to take 2 tablespoons of capers that you've drained. So drain them out of the bottle. Take 2 tablespoons of capers and just garnish that over the top. And then you're going to serve it with assorted party crackers and then with the shrimp, of course, too. So that's it, you guys. That's really simple. So put this in the fridge with a cover on it until you're ready to use it. When you are ready to set it out, take your block of cream cheese, kind of spread it out on a plate, put your cocktail sauce over top. I definitely wouldn't pour it. I would spoon it over it, and then maybe if there's too much, you can leave some just cocktail sauce in the bowl. Drain your capers and put about 2 tablespoons of capers over top of the cream cheese with cocktail sauce as a garnish, and then put your your shrimp out and some crackers, and that's it. Okay, pretty simple. All right, so we are going to start the next things, which is going to be, let's see, we need to start the whipped potatoes because we need to get the potatoes made for them and the southern green beans. So what you're going to need for the whipped potatoes, which is what I'm going to be doing as I'm preparing, you're going to need 4 pounds of russet potatoes. You're going to wash and scrub them and then peel and remove any debris and then cut them and quarter all the potatoes and then rinse them again in like a colander until the water runs clear, okay? Then you're going to put them in a large pot, cover them with cold water, add a teaspoon of salt, and then bring them to a boil over high heat. And then you're gonna let them heat, lower it to a medium high once it gets boiling, and cook them for about 20 minutes, okay? And then once the potatoes are fork tender, you're gonna go ahead and drain them in a colander and then place them in a bowl, okay? So I'm gonna get that done and then I will come back when we're to do the potatoes when the potatoes are ready. So you're going to wash and scrub 4 pounds of russet potatoes, cut or peel them and get any blemishes off, cut them into quarters and then rinse them in a colander until the water comes clear. Put them in a large pot, cover them with water, and put a teaspoon of salt in there. Bring it to a boil over high heat, then turn it down to a medium high and cook it for 20 minutes or until they're fork tender, which means the fork pushes into them really easy. Then drain them and then place them in a bowl, and you are going to be using like an electric hand mixer to whip these up. So make sure whatever bowl you put them in is big enough that you're going to be able to whip them up. Okay, so I'm going to be doing that. The other thing that you are going to need to do is you're going to need to fry up a 8 slices of bacon, and it says to use a cast iron skillet, okay? So you're gonna fry them up until they're crispy, and then drain the bacon on a paper towel, but you need to reserve the bacon grease to get almost 1/4 of a cup. So you'll need 1/4 of a cup of the bacon grease. If you don't have enough grease to make 1/4 of a cup, then you can add in a little bit of olive oil as a substitute. And then once the bacon is cooled off enough to handle it, you're gonna go ahead and chop it up, okay, into smaller pieces, okay? And then for the green beans themselves, you are gonna go ahead and take 2 pounds of whole fresh green beans. You're gonna rinse them off real good. Let's see. Where's it at? Wash the beans in a colander, drain them off. You're gonna pat them dry, trim the ends off, and then just snap them in half, okay, into bite-sized pieces. So usually you can snap the ends off as well, just tick, and they'll pop off, and snap the green beans in half, okay? And then you're just gonna place that in a large pot, and then I'll be back to show you how to do the rest, okay? So I hope that was all understandable. If you guys have any questions, please just leave a comment, and I will, try to answer what I can. Hopefully that's explained enough that you guys can understand it, so we can just pick up from doing those 2 things and make this stuff. And then we're also going to get the meatloaf in and going as well once we get the green beans cooking, because the green beans are going to take a little bit of time, okay? All right, so I will be back once I've got the potatoes and the green beans ready. Okay, you guys, so I'm going to reorder the way I did things just a little bit from what I told you before. So this is how I'm doing it to kind of hopefully get everything, well, except for the bread, done at about the same time, okay? So we already made the bread, of course, that if you want it warm, you can just heat it up. A lot of times we use like bread to make meatloaf sandwiches, and the bread doesn't necessarily have to be warm for that. So this is what I did. So I did go ahead and fry up my bacon in a cast iron pan, which I have the 8 slices here. Just to let you know, I fried an entire package and took the 8 slices to cut up for this, but have the extras over there because people will walk by and eat them all day. Anyway, so while the bacon was frying up, I went ahead and peeled and quartered my potatoes, which quartered means cut them into 4s, and then rinsed them real good. And then I put them in a pot and covered them with water and put the 1 teaspoon of salt in there. And then I just set them on the stove. I haven't turned them on or anything yet because the green beans and the meatloaf are going to take longer, so the potatoes won't take as long as they will. So I did cover them in water though to kind of help stop them from browning while they're sitting there waiting. So they're just over there on the stove waiting. They haven't been cooked at all yet, okay? After I got the bacon done, and while the bacon strips were cooling and the grease was cooling enough that I could put it in a measuring cup, I went ahead and took my green beans, rinsed them off real good. And then, like I said, usually it's a whole green bean. You can just grab the end and clip the ends off and then just snap it in half. And I threw them all in this pot. So I got 2 pounds of green beans in here. Okay, then what you're gonna do is take an onion and cut it into quarters. You want to peel off the peel and all of that first. You're going to cut it into quarters from top to bottom so you get nice little quarters like this, okay? And then take your 8 pieces of bacon that you're going to use and just chop them up a little bit. So I have those here, okay? So now what you're going to do is you're going to have the green beans in a large pot. You're going to add your bacon grease, your 1/4 of a cup of bacon grease, okay? Then you're going to add your onion, which is 1 onion quartered from top to bottom, which quartered means cut into 4 pieces. Then you're also going to add in your chicken stock. So you need 1 32-ounce container of chicken stock. And I'm just going to set that upside down there because I know it's going to take a minute to drain out. Don't fall over. Okay, and then you're going to also put in, let's see, what's next? Oh, some salt and pepper. So it says 1 teaspoon of salt, okay, and 1 teaspoon of pepper. find out here. I know I didn't measure the salt and pepper. Sometimes I just put it in, okay? All right, then you're also going to put in some garlic powder, which you need, how much garlic powder? Oh, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And then also a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. That's a tablespoon, 1/2 teaspoon onion powder. Does it have the, is it just using, I thought it said to cut it up. Maybe it's for, okay. I didn't see the bacon listed on there. Maybe it goes in later. So let me look here real quick just to make sure I don't want to miss anything. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to bring these to a boil and stir it. So put it on the oven, bring it up to a boil, then stir it and lower the heat to a medium. So you're going to start it out with it on a high heat. Stir it up, bring it to a boil, lower the heat to medium, and you're going to gentle boil it for an hour with a lid on it, okay? So that's for a full hour. Then after the hour is up, you're going to remove the lid, gently stir it again, taste it to see if you think it needs any more like salt or pepper or anything else in it, and then cook it for 30 more minutes with the lid off to allow the liquid to reduce, okay? Then you're going to transfer it to your serving bowl and put your green beans on top, okay? Or I'm sorry, not your green beans, your bacon. Got green beans on the brain. So your bacon on top. So put this in the stove with everything we just put in it, give it a stir, bring it up to a boil on a high heat, turn it down to a medium heat and gentle boil it for an hour with a lid on it. Then take the lid off, give it a stir, and let it cook with the lid off for 30 minutes so that the liquid can reduce some. Then go ahead and transfer this all to a bowl and sprinkle your bacon over top. That's it for the green beans, okay? So I'll be back in just a minute. We'll put the meatloaf together and get it cooking. And then hopefully we'll be able to start the potatoes and get those boiling and start our cobbler. Hopefully everything will come out about the same time, which is what you want, right? Okay, so I'll be back to start the meatloaf here in just a minute. Okay, you guys, so while you're waiting for your green beans to come up to boil, you can go ahead and start prepping for your meatloaf. So what you're gonna need for that is 1 medium egg, finely chopped, one medium onion, finely chopped, and 1 green bell pepper, finely chopped as well. Of course, you'll wanna seed it and take the seeds out and stuff first. Then you're also going to need to take 3/4 of a cup of old-fashioned rolled oats, put them in a food processor. I used one of these little single cup things and just pulse it a few times until they're chopped up about half of about what they were. And some of these might have gotten chopped up a little bit more than that, but that's okay. I only had to pulse it like twice, I think, okay? All right, so now that you've got all of that ready, I'm actually gonna do this a little bit differently. They have us make the sauce first, then do this part, and then make the meatloaf and all of that. I'm gonna do it a little bit different, and you guys will figure out why here in a minute. So what you're gonna do is in a bowl, you're gonna take 2 eggs, okay? And you're gonna crack those into the bowl. Wow, how'd that shell? Every time lately I get shells. I don't know why. Okay, here's 2. All right, and then you're gonna take a fork and you're gonna whip those up, okay? Just like so. Then you're gonna go ahead and take a, what is this, a 5-ounce can? Yes, a 5-ounce can of evaporated milk, and you're gonna stir that in there as well, okay? Now, this is when you would do the food processor part with the rolled oats. I just did mine ahead of time, so it would all be ready, okay? Now you're gonna go ahead and put the oats, so it's 3/4 of a cup of old-fashioned rolled oats that you've pulsed through a food processor a couple times, okay? You're gonna go ahead and dump that in there, and you're gonna give this a stir. Get it all in there. Kind of looks like a custard. Okay, Okay, so give this a good stir, and then you're gonna let this sit for and soak for about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so it kind of just looks like a lumpy egg mixture. Okay, so we're just gonna set this back here to soak while we do some other stuff. Okay, now I'm gonna make the sauce. Okay, so for the sauce, you're gonna go ahead and in a bowl, you're gonna stir in 1 cup of ketchup. And I need a spoon again. Okay, so 1 cup of ketchup. You're gonna add to this 1 tablespoon of light brown sugar. Okay, got that. And then also you're gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of mustard. Prepared, regular yellow mustard. Okay, let's make sure we give it a good shake here. Okay, and just add a 1/2 teaspoon of that. Okay. Okay, so then you're just gonna stir this up. Get it all off the sides and the bottom, get it mixed in real good. Okay. Still pretty much looks like ketchup. So we're gonna set this to the side for a few minutes while we start the meatloaf. Now for this, I am gonna use my hands to stir it, and even they say to use your hands, or you can use a spoon if you want. But if you are gonna use your hands, make sure all your jewelry, you don't wanna get meat in your rings. Ew. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you are gonna put let's see. 1 pound, 6 ounces of ground beef and 10 ounces of ground pork. Okay, and you're gonna have that in a bowl. You're gonna add to this 1/2 of a medium onion. So that onion that you chopped, you only need 1/2 of it. Okay, so I guess if you want, you can chop just 1/2 of it and put the other 1/2 in the fridge if you want. Okay, then you're gonna need a 1/2 of a finely chopped green pepper. So same thing. You want to only chop 1/2 and put it in the fridge, go ahead and only chop 1/2. Okay, there we go. Or you can chop them up and freeze the other pieces that are chopped, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to freeze them chopped up because I'm sure I'll use them later. Okay, so then you got that in there. Now you're going to add 1 teaspoon of sea salt. Can be any salt as well. I know I'm not measuring yet. I'm just putting it in here. Okay, and then 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Okay, then you're going to put in 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. One teaspoon garlic powder. And a 1/2 of a teaspoon of onion powder, which I got mustard on my 1/2 teaspoon, so I'll just use a 1/2 of a full teaspoon here. Oops, that's not 1/2. There we go. 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. Okay. Now you're gonna grab your sauce, and you're gonna put 1/4 of a cup of your sauce in here. Okay. And then you're gonna save the rest of the sauce for later on after you're gonna coat the top of the meatloaf after it's cooked for a little bit. Okay, so have that saved off to the side. And then you're gonna add your soaked oat mixture. Okay, as long as it's been about 10 minutes. I think it's been pretty close, I don't know. Okay. Go. All right, and then I'm gonna have ready, here it is, a 9x5 loaf pan for when it's done. And you're just gonna take your hands and mix it up. Okay, now you can either use a 9x5 loaf pan or a 9x5 meatloaf pan if you have one. A meatloaf pan is probably preferred. I don't have a meatloaf pan. I don't even think I knew there was a such thing as a meatloaf pan. So yeah, that was new to me. To look at that, see what it is. Okay, and it says a 9x5 meatloaf pan with the insert. And if you don't have that, I don't know what the insert is either. If you don't have that, then you just can use a 9x5 loaf pan. Okay. All right. Oh, and we also need to preheat our oven to 350 degrees, which mine's already there. Okay. So make sure you do that as well. Okay, so let's get this nice and mixed up. It's looking pretty good. Make sure we get all this on the sides in there. So it just kind of looks like a mushy meat mixture, you guys. Like a lighter hamburger, ground hamburger. Making hamburger patties, you know, they're kind of like a brighter red. This looks a lot lighter than that. Ooh, there was still a frozen spot in one of the meats. Wow. Just one little spot that was still a little frozen. There we go. Okay. So once you've gotten that good and mixed up, you've got just a mixture that looks like that. It's not very pretty, but that's okay. All right, now you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna put this into your 9x5 pan. Meatloaf or loaf, whichever one you're using. Gonna spread it out to make sure you get it in all the corners. There we go. Okay, so now you're gonna cook this in a 350 degree oven for about 45 minutes. Once the 45 minutes is up, you're gonna remove it from the oven and carefully pour the rest of your sauce over top of it, okay? And then you're gonna return it to the oven and cook it again for about 15 minutes more. You want the sauce to form like a nice glaze, okay? And you're gonna remove it from the oven and allow it to rest for about 10 minutes. So by the time that's all done, your green beans should be getting done too, okay? So I'm gonna stick this in the oven, and then I'm also going to start my potatoes. So I'm gonna turn them on high and bring them to a boil, turn them down to medium, and let them boil for about 20 minutes or so until they're fork tender, okay? And then while those are boiling, I'm gonna come back and show you guys how to make the cobbler, because it cooks at 352. So we can kind of get everything going at one time, okay? So I'll be back in just a minute. Hey you guys, so now we're going to start our chocolate cobbler, okay? So our green beans are going, our meatloaf is in. I have started the potatoes boiling, which are going good. And now we're gonna do this. So what you're gonna do for this is you're gonna need a square pan. I hope you can see that. I don't wanna touch it. It just came out of the oven, it's still hot. You're gonna take 3/4 of a cup of butter or 6 tablespoons, whichever one you wanna go by. And you're gonna put that in a 350 degree oven. Now it says to do this from the time the oven is warming up. So warm it up, and as it's warming up, stick the pan in the oven and melt the butter as it's warming up to 350 degrees. But since I already had my meatloaf in there, I just put it in and kept an eye on it and waited until the butter melted, okay? And so you're gonna set that aside. The other thing that you are gonna need, so while you're melting your butter, is just to put a pot of water on. You're gonna need 1.5 cups of boiling water, which I have over here on the stove, okay? So have your pan sitting close by. The first thing you're gonna do is make your topping. So what you're gonna do is put 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Okay, there we go. And in case I didn't say, this is chocolate cobbler. Not sure if I said that. Okay, so 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and then 3/4 of a cup of unsweetened cocoa. Oh no, not too much. There we go. There we go. Okay. There we go. Probably should have just dipped the measuring spoon in there, but that's okay. Okay, and you're gonna stir that together. Okay, and it looks a lot like cinnamon and sugar does, maybe a little bit darker because it's cocoa instead of cinnamon. But that's what it reminds me of, is like a cinnamon and sugar mixture, but instead it's a cocoa and sugar mixture. Okay, so set that to the side for now. Okay, so now what you're gonna do in another bowl, you are gonna combine, let me switch these around here because I need this one first. You're gonna combine 1 1/4 cups of self-rising flour. there's 1 cup. Here is 1/4 of a cup. Okay, you're gonna also put in this your sugar, which you need 1 cup of sugar. Okay, 1 cup of sugar. Then you're also gonna combine 1 tablespoon plus 2 teaspoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. So 1 tablespoon plus 2 teaspoons. There we go. And then, okay, that's it for now. So you're gonna go ahead and stir this up. Get it all nice and mixed up. Okay, that mixed up. Now you're gonna add in a 1/2 cup of whole milk and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Where'd my teaspoon? Oh, it's right here. I was gonna say, where'd it go? I found it. Okay. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay. You're gonna go ahead and stir that up until it's smooth. Smooth. Ooh. Trying to get everything mixed in. It's kind of staying down at the bottom. And it's a tough dough because you're going to add more stuff to it here in a little bit. Kind of. Not really adding it to it. You're going to pour something over it. That's what Come on, get all mixed in there. There we go. Straight down the edge of the bowl here. Oh, throw stuff around. Okay, so you get kind of a pretty thick batter, okay? So now you're going to put this batter into your pan over the melted butter. Oh, and I was going to tell you guys too as well to check on your green beans. So mine are almost to the point where I was going to have to pull the lid off, but they were getting really low on water or liquid. So I added a little bit of water to them. I hope that's not going to change the flavor too much, but it might. Okay. We're going to kind of spread this out a little bit here. There we go. Now you're going to sprinkle your topping over it. All of this? That's a lot. Whew. Doesn't say to cut it in half or anything. It just says sprinkle it over. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Got that? And then you're going to get your 1.5 cups of boiling water. So let me get that here. Oops. The wrong thing there. Okay. Got our boiling water. Take it over here. Make sure we get 1.5 cups. Good. Okay. So once you've got that, you're going to gently pour your 1.5 cups of boiling water over top of this. Okay. All right. And then you are gonna stick this in a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes until it's hot and gooey, okay? When it comes out, you're gonna garnish it with cobbler, or garnish it with chopped walnuts. It says about a half of a cup of chopped walnuts, and then you serve it hot with a thing of ice cream on top of it. So if you want, you can even like wait until you've got dinner almost done, and then stick this in the oven to cook, and then it'll be ready. You know, everybody will eat, and then it'll be ready and hot. So that's up to you if you want to do it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and get this in the oven and cook it for about 30 minutes. Then I'll also come back once my potatoes are ready, and we will make the whipped mashed potatoes, which is our last recipe. Sorry about the hands, they're gross. So I'll be back in just a minute, guys. So our potatoes are ready. So once you've boiled them and gotten them fork soft, you're just going to drain them first, put them in a big bowl, and then you're going to use an electric hand mixer, and you're going to start kind of whipping them up a little bit. Down in there. Okay, I'm going to shut this off for a minute. Once you've gotten those whipped up just a little, I forgot to tell you too, you are supposed to do, oh wow, I'm going to fling stuff everywhere. You are supposed to pull out 1 stick of butter and bring it up to room temperature, or a half a cup of butter, whichever one you want to do. So after you've whipped them a little bit, you're going to go ahead and add that in. And then you're also supposed to have a 5 ounces, which is about 2/3 of a cup, pretty close, of a half and half that's also been brought up to room temperature. And you may need more, which is why I have it sitting here as well, okay? And then you're also going to put in a half a teaspoon of salt. All right, and continue to whip it up. And eventually get it up to high speed here once you kind of get them mixed up a little bit. Turn it up a little. Making a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. A couple up on the sides here that don't want to come straight in. Ah! Flying everywhere, you guys. Flying everywhere. It is going everywhere. So I would usually use a potato masher for this. This is part of the reason why it's messy. Okay, so we've almost got it all mixed in. We got one little stubborn piece of butter there. There we go. Okay, you guys, so now that that's all mixed up, you've got a really nice set of mashed potatoes. If you want them to be a little bit creamier, you can add more half and half, but I think these actually look really good, so I am going to leave them here. So now I'm going to put a lid on these. Everything else is almost just about ready, but I want these to stay hot, so I'm going to put a lid on these, and then I will be back and we will have everything served up, okay? And we'll see how it all turns out. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, you guys, so everything is ready. So we have our mashed potatoes here, our green beans with our bacon sprinkled on the top here. We have our shrimp out and they're on ice. So whenever you serve cold, like cocktail shrimp, should have them on ice. We put our cream cheese, spread it out on our plate, put our sauce over top and sprinkled the 2 tablespoons of capers on. It's fabulous. We have our bread nice and sliced up on a board and ready to go. We have our, oops, something just hit the ground. Our meatloaf sitting here. I did let it sit for 10 minutes. Now it's ready to slice. And then our cobbler, which I will tell you, this is a little strange. I've never made chocolate cobbler before, and I think it's okay. It did overflow in the stove a little bit. I think though this is an 8-inch pan, so maybe if it was a 9-inch square pan, it might be better. But I did end up having it overflow a little bit in the oven, just so you guys know, okay? So definitely don't put this over, like if you're using 2 racks, don't put this over the food, and I would probably, just in case, put something underneath of it, okay? All right, so let's give this all a try. We're gonna start with the bread. Delicious, nice and moist. Oh, fantastic flavor. Ooh, it's got like a buttery flavor. Almost kind of tastes a little bit like a dinner roll with the butter on it. Oh, that's fabulous. Love it. Okay, so now let's try a green bean here. I'm not a big fan of green beans, but we'll try one. Maybe get a little bacon with it. But that's a big, I don't want a big one. I just want a little one. Otherwise, it'll take me forever to chew it. There we go. Let's get a little piece of bacon on there. Maybe. Okay. Actually really good. I can actually eat that. Okay. That's good. Okay, for the mashed potatoes. That's really good too. Ooh. Put some more butter on those and fantastic. Now I can't try the shrimp cocktail because I'm allergic. And I don't want to try the sauce by itself, but I'm sure it's fabulous. Okay, now I just want to get a small piece of the meatloaf here. Check it, making sure it does look done, and it does. Feels done, looks done. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I don't see any pinkness in there, and it's looking really good. It feels good to the touch, like it's all salad. So let's give this a try. My mom's gonna like that. That's almost like how she makes her meatloaf. Okay, so now for the chocolate cobbler. I do have ice cream to serve with this. I just don't have it out right now. But we'll just try it without the ice cream and see how it tastes. Ooh, it's definitely got like a cakiness to it, so that's good. Oh, that's fantastic. I bet it's even better with ice cream on it. Oh, fabulous, fabulous dinner, you guys. My kids, man, my whole family is gonna love this. All right, you guys, so that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. Like and subscribe if you like, or don't if you don't. Everyone have a good day. Enjoy your cooking. Keep your kitchen messy, and we'll see you later. Bye.